never thought I'd be the kind of man who'd sit at the kitchen table, staring at a half-empty cup of coffee, wondering how long it takes for love to rot. But there I was. The clock ticked past midnight, the silence of our home broken only by the hum of the refrigerator and the soft whir of the ceiling fan. Across from me sat my wife, Anna, legs crossed, arms folded, face lit by her phone's cold glow. She wasn't crying. She wasn't angry. She looked detached, like someone delivering bad news to a stranger. "Ethan," she said finally, placing her phone face down. "Can I ask you something without you freaking out?" That phrase, "without you freaking out," was how she usually prefaced something that would tear a hole in me. I nodded slowly. "What is it?" She hesitated. Then she said it. "Can I get intimacy somewhere else?" The words hung in the air like a gunshot that didn't echo. I laughed at first. A dry, broken laugh. "You're joking." "I'm not," she said, her tone unervingly calm. "You've been distant for months, Ethan. Have needs too. I'm just tired of pretending everything's fine." I felt my body go cold. My throat closed up, but I managed to whisper, "You're asking for permission to cheat?" "Don't call it that," she snapped. "It's not cheating if you agree. It's honesty. Transparency." I stared at her, trying to find some trace of the woman I married 12 years ago. The woman who used to wake me up with a kiss, who'd cry at Pixar movies, who once told me, "We're each other's home." But she was gone. All that was left was someone else. Someone tired, resentful, and convinced she deserved more than what I'd become. It didn't happen overnight. We'd been drifting for years. Me drowning in work, her lost in the monotony of being a stay-at-home mom turned part-time yoga instructor. Somewhere along the way, our conversations became checklists. Our laughter faded into silence. Our bed turned into two separate islands. And I was too exhausted to fix it. Every attempt at affection from me felt forced. Every attempt at intimacy from her felt transactional. Eventually we just stopped trying. But that night, when she asked that question, it felt like she'd reached the finish line of something she'd been running toward for months. And I, the fool, was still tying my shoes. Over the next few days, she didn't bring it up again. She acted normal, too normal. Cooking dinner, doing laundry, texting on her phone with that secretive half-smile that made my stomach twist. I told myself I was paranoid. That maybe she'd just said it to shock me. But deep down I knew. Every late-night yoga class, every phone she took to the bathroom, every quick swipe of her screen when I walked into the room, it all painted the truth I didn't want to see. She was already gone. A week later it came up again. We were in the living room, sitting in silence after dinner. She muted the TV and turned toward me. "Ethan, I meant what I said," she said softly. "I can't keep living like this." Clenched my jaw. "Like what?" "With your husband. Your family. With a man who doesn't even look at me anymore," she said, voice trembling now. "You've checked out, Ethan. You don't even try. You don't touch me, you don't talk to me, you don't see me." I wanted to shout that I did see her. That I was just trying to hold everything together. Work, bills, our son's school fees. But the words wouldn't come. I was tired of fighting. "Fine," I said quietly. "If that's what you need, go ahead." The look on her face wasn't relief. It was surprise. Maybe even guilt. But she nodded. Slowly. And just like that I gave her permission to destroy us. Started small. Subtle changes. She started dressing differently. Tighter clothes, bolder lipstick, perfume I hadn't smelled in years. Her phone was always face down now. She'd go to yoga retreats that lasted until midnight. She'd come home humming, glowing. And I'd sit in the dark, pretending I didn't know. Pretending that the woman who climbed into bed beside me after midnight hadn't been with someone else. That the faint cologne on her clothes wasn't proof. That I wasn't dying inside. One night, she stumbled in at 1 a.m., hair messy, heels in her hand. "You're still awake?" she asked, startled. "Couldn't sleep," I said. She froze, sensing something different in my tone. "Ethan, don't start, okay? You said I could." "I know what I said." I cut her off, my voice steady. I just didn't realize what it would turn you into. Her eyes narrowed. Turn me into what? Someone who can walk through that door after being with another man and act like nothing happened. Her face twisted. You pushed me to this. You stopped caring long before I did. Maybe, I said. But I didn't replace you. Silence. Heavy and sharp. Then she whispered almost defiantly. His name is Caleb. I felt the ground vanish beneath me. She could have lied. She could have said it's nobody. But no, she wanted me to know. She wanted me to feel it. He makes me feel alive, she said, voice trembling but resolute. Something you stopped doing years ago. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, numb, staring at the woman who once swore she'd love me, through every season. And I realized this was the winter she'd been waiting for. The next morning she acted like nothing happened. Made pancakes for our son, kissed his forehead, hummed while doing dishes. I watched her move around the kitchen, pretending to be a wife and mother, when in truth she was neither anymore. That day I made a decision. If she could quietly dismantle our marriage, I could quietly walk away from it. Over the next month I set everything in motion. I contacted a lawyer, closed joint accounts, opened a separate one, moved my paycheck direct deposit, rented a small apartment downtown. I didn't tell her. Instead, I let her keep thinking she'd won. She came home smelling like cheap cologne. I kissed her on the forehead and said goodnight. She texted in the corner, giggling. Asked how yoga was. Every time she lied, I matched her with silence. Until the night she finally crossed the line she couldn't come back from. It was a Friday night. She said she was going on a weekend retreat. He nodded, helped her pack, even carried her bag to the car. Thanks, she said softly, guilt flickering in her eyes for the first time in months. You're really okay with this? I smiled faintly. Yeah. I'm done fighting. She exhaled in relief, kissed my cheek and drove off. Followed her. 20 minutes later, she parked outside a small Airbnb on the edge of town. A man stepped out to greet her. Caleb, tall, lean, with that smug confidence I once had. A kiss. Not a quick peck. Deep, hungry kiss. My stomach turned, but I stayed silent. I snapped photos, videos, license plate, time stamps. Then I drove back home and packed the rest of my things. When she came back 2 days later, she looked radiant, rejuvenated, until she saw the envelope on the kitchen table. Her smile faded as she opened it. Divorce papers, photos, and a short note in my handwriting. You asked for permission. Gave it. But you forgot that freedom always comes with consequences. I didn't wait around to see her reaction. By the time she tried calling me, I was already gone. Months passed. She sent texts, angry, then apologetic, then desperate. You're really doing this? Ethan, please, let's talk. I made a mistake. He left me. Caleb left me. But I didn't reply. Sometimes silence speaks louder than rage. It's been a year now. I live in a quiet apartment overlooking the river. I still wake up sometimes expecting to see her beside me, but instead I see sunlight pouring through the window, and I remember that peace doesn't come from holding on. Comes from letting go. A few weeks ago, I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked smaller. The sparkle was gone. She smiled weakly. You look good, Ethan. You too, I said, though we both knew it was a lie. She hesitated. Do you ever think we could have fixed it? I met her eyes for a long moment. We could have, if you hadn't tried to fix it with someone else. She nodded, tears welling up, and walked away. And for the first time I didn't feel anger. Or sadness. Just closure. Because sometimes love doesn't end in fire. It fades in silence, long before anyone admits it. And when she asked for permission to destroy us, I said yes. But in saying yes, I finally found the strength to walk away.